We've touched base with radicals a little bit, but we're going to be looking at radical notation in terms of when we have a square root of a number that has a power or an exponent. Okay, so to start off with, just remember that when we have n to the power of, or n, the nth root of x, this is really x to the power of 1 over n. Okay, so for instance, if I were to have the fourth root of 81, we know this is really 81 to the 1/4 power, which we can type in is 3. That's great, and we've worked with fraction exponents, but we haven't touched base of what they mean in terms of radicals. So going back actually and looking at this, the 1 comes from 81 to the 1st power. Okay, so when we're talking about a number that's an exponent, such as x to the power of m, this is really x to the power of m over n. And we've dealt with this before in terms of exponents like a fraction like that. So if I were to have the cube root of x to the 2nd, this is really x to the power of 2/3. Okay, and you can use this information in order to break stuff down. So for instance, like this case, it doesn't actually break down, but if you were to have the 4th root of x to the power of 16, this is really x to the power of 16 over 4. Well, we can reduce that exponent to just be x to the 4th. Okay, and this can apply using any number instead of x. This can apply to when we have numbers. So if I were to have the cube root of 27, x to the 3rd, y to the 5th, this is really 27 to the 3rd, x to the 3 over 3, y to the 5 over 3. Okay, so we can reduce this down. This reduces down to 3x and then y to the 5/3. We'll talk about simplification in terms of leaving it in terms of the radical in a different video, but this is all information that you can use. The other thing that we need to talk about are roots of roots. So for instance, if I were to have like the square root of the square root of x, this is really x to the power of a half to the power of a half. So we know when we have an exponent on the outside, raising it to another power, we multiply. So this is really x to the 1/4, or if you were writing this in radical notation, the 4th root of x. Okay, so it's really not that big of a deal. You just rewrite it as an exponent and then combine your like terms using multiplication based on our properties of exponents.